My name's Keith Wasserstrom, and I grew my law firm from $200,000 a year to over $5 million a year in just 5 years. And I've made countless mistakes along the way, but here's the thing. It's much better that you learn from my mistakes and avoid them yourself than actually have to go through those mistakes yourself. There's an old saying that a fool learns from his own mistakes, but the wise man learns from the mistakes of others. Watch this video to the end and learn how I ran my law firm and learn some of the mistakes that I've learned, either from myself or from others, and I share them with you so that you don't have to go through those same mistakes. One of the biggest problems is taking the wrong client. Right when you're starting out as a lawyer, you'll pretty much take anything that walks in the door and you're thrilled to have a client. But sometimes that client is just too time consuming. There's some people that need a lot of hand holding, and you want to be that lawyer that actually provides that hand holding. But sometimes it's too much. And sometimes the client, complains about every single 6-minute period that you guys spoke. They might call you, ask you a quick question, and then you appropriately bill them, for that time, and then they complain that about all these other bills and everything else. So you're spending all this time contacting them and talking to them about billing and collection, and they're calling you about the silliest little thing, that they need an explanation. Maybe it's an explanation of the bill. Maybe it's an explanation of an email that you wrote. It's just some clients it's just not worth it. Now, if you have nothing else to do because it is your only client, then you deal with that and you'll learn how to deal better with these kind of clients. But if you have a real practice and you're busy, there are certain clients that you just got to know from the get-go that it's probably going to be not work for you, and you let them down in a nice way. You can tell them that that you're too busy, you're not taking on new clients, or this is not your area of specialty, whatever. So you let them down nicely because you don't want to upset them in any way, because you don't want there to be an opportunity for someone to badmouth you in the community. If somebody else says, "Hey, I need a lawyer," and this person says, "Well, this guy was very rude to me. I tried to use him, and he didn't want me as a client." People might feel insulted. So always, it's not you, it's me kind of thing. You take the blame for your firm's not able to take this on any new clients or this client at this time. The other thing one of the best pieces of advice that I got when I went out on my own was don't take anything under $500. Before that, I was taking anything, and I figured I had this sort of strategy in my mind that even if I got something for $250, I now had a client, and if he had bigger problems, bigger issues, then I'd be able to grow with this client. But it turns out that going through the paperwork and all the, if you have a law firm with other lawyers, you have to do a conflict check and make sure there's no conflicts with the other partners, other lawyers. So going through all that work and filling out the intake documents and having your engagement letter and all kind of stuff, it takes a lot of time and effort. So if you're going through a lot of work for $250, there is a good chance you may never see this client again. And you might have spent hours and staff time and everything else, and so it's just not worth it. So, and if there's things that you're doing, writing a letter that really could be done for $250, you might want to broaden that engagement so it includes, maybe the next step. You could try to make it a larger, say, we don't take anything under $500. So that might get you, they might pay you the $500 for that small little task, but also it, lets them know that there is a limit, and they could find another lawyer that will write a letter for $250. But that's not what you want. You don't want to be that guy. You really want to sort of a bigger picture for that client and for yourself, and for your time. Another mistake that a lot of people make is they spend money on advertising, or they spend money and time on networking events. So if you're not going to do these things properly, you probably shouldn't do them at all. I had a friend that was a personal injury lawyer, and he would tell me that every $100,000 he spent on billboards, because he was big into billboards, he said he got $500,000 back. So 5-to-1 return, which sounds great, except that the $100,000 has to come out, of his pocket today. The $500,000 that he collects might not be for another 3 to 4 years. So your firm has to be able to handle that cash flow situation. So sometimes, even though the advertising might be effective, it's not practical or it's not in your best interest today. When you're a $10 million firm, you're not going to care about $100,000 that you get back in 5 years. You're building for the future, and those kind of investments might make sense. But if you're a small growing firm, spending $100,000 today for a $500,000 payday 4 years from now might actually put you out of business. So also, it's not just money, it's time. So if you're going to networking events, make the best of it. Really have a strategy walking in that you're going to walk away, not just with 5 business cards. Back in the day, we used to exchange business cards. Make a connection with somebody, And the best way to make a connection with somebody when you're at a networking event is to ask them, how can I help you? If they're in a service industry, what kind of clients are you looking for? And the fact that you're trying to help them, they're going to remember that, and they're going to try to help you as well. The most important thing is to ask them about themselves, get them talking about themselves, because you might sort of recognize this, but when you're talking about yourself, you feel good. So getting the prospect or your new friend to talk about something, something intricate, something that they love about their job, something they hate about their job, getting them to speak. And then again, the most important thing is, how can I help you? What kind of clients are you looking for? They're really going to appreciate that. And again, they're going to want to return the favor. And also, you do get their email address or their phone number, and just text them later on that evening, when you get home. Just say, it was really nice to meet you. Maybe we should grab coffee and get to know each other a little better. Or, maybe you could tell me a little better how I can help you grow your firm. Again, if you're really thinking about them, that comes back in dividends. The other problem is some people want to grow their firm and they take on debt to do so, whether it's debt for advertising. I was in a situation where I brought on 3 very prestigious lawyers from a very prestigious law firm. And so they came to my sort of downtown law office, and they said, we need better offices. So we ended up moving out of a place I was at for several years and had a presence at, to a nicer building and nicer, furniture and everything else. But that all cost us money. We took a line of credit. So we, ended up going in debt, and that obviously makes everything else more expensive. So the next mistake really affected me. But before I talk about that, I have, if you've gotten any kind of insights from this video yet, if yes, then you're probably looking to grow your law firm. How would you feel if you could do that while also enjoying being a lawyer and running the practice? Well, if that's interesting to you, then there's a link in the description to book a call with me directly. I'll personally take the call and talk to you and see how I will be able to reach your goals, how I could help you reach your goals. So again, just to reiterate, don't spend money that you don't have. Getting into debt for dreams that you might accomplish, assuming that all these things you're spending money on, whether it's new furniture or new offices or whatever else, thinking about those kind of things that are going to bring in clients and pay for the investment, you think it's an investment, it's much better that you stay small and humble and get to clients because you're a great lawyer and you're doing great things. And hopefully that, your clients will talk about you, you grow by word of mouth instead of investing and hoping that you get more clients with this new, prettier office. Because there's a lot of great firms that have great offices and, great furniture and everything else, beautiful art on the walls. That's not why people choose their lawyers. It does make an impression, and I think everyone appreciates that. You'll have a nice impression, this guy must be successful, he must be doing well. And a lot of people will drive a nicer car than maybe they could afford, because that sometimes does show that they're successful. And that, I don't want to sort of take anything away from that impression, but spending money you don't have for that goal of, you're going to build this firm and you'll be able to cover your debt, it's a risk and it's a challenge. The other thing I would suggest is that you save money. You can always go to a client's office, or you can meet a client at at a Starbucks or some other restaurant or coffee shop or whatever else. So if you're not there yet with the offices that you dreamed of having, you don't have to spend money in investing on it today with money you don't have. You don't have to borrow. I strongly suggest you don't necessarily borrow. You could take this opportunity to go to the client, because obviously going to the client's office is actually very good for lots of reasons. One is you'll get to see their operation, and you'll get to see what issues that they might be having, because while you're sitting there talking to the CEO or the manager, somebody might call, somebody might come into the office and mention an issue that they're facing. There might be an opportunity for issues to come up that this person might not even thinking about needing a lawyer, but then now that you're in his office, he says, you know what, question for you. I got this employee that I need to deal with a certain situation. What do you recommend? You might not have all the answers. So my suggestion is not to pretend you have the answers. If he asks you a question that maybe is not your field, you say, you know what, I don't handle that, but Joe in my office, he's the litigator, or Steve in my office is the real estate attorney. So something like that, definitely helps. The fact that you can help them with their issue, or answer the question, whether you can do it then or later, is definitely going to be a positive thing for you. The biggest mistake you could make, we talked about taking on the wrong clients. On the other end is taking on the wrong employees. You should hire slow but fire fast. It is good to know whoever you're bringing on, whether it's a partner, whether you're going to be merging your law firm with another law firm, or just bringing another lawyer or a law firm into your practice. You really got to get to know them, get to know their reputation. You should meet the people, and also you sort of subtly talk to the staff, the secretaries, the paralegals, and find out how their attorney, if they like being there. Because if they enjoy being there, then they're probably working for a good person that makes it pleasant for them and everything else. And that's very good to know. If they're not good people, it could end up hurting your firm. If you bring, an a-hole over to your firm, or you hire that kind of a person, it can really bring down your entire firm, because you might associate that person with somebody who brings in a lot of business. But if he makes everyone miserable at the office, from the staff to other lawyers, nobody wants to work with him. It's a lot harder to sort of unwind that hire or unwind that partnership agreement. So it's very important that you make the right decision from the get-go, and talk to as many references as they're willing to let you talk to. If you're hiring somebody because you need that role filled, and then you have to fire them or let them go 3 months, 6 months, 9 months later, you're now back again spending time, wasting time recruiting, meeting other prospective partners, associates, or staff members. That takes a lot of time. And then you have to train them to get. And again, that going back to the firing quickly, it's hard to do. And sometimes, because you don't want to sort of hurt your reputation in the marketplace, you'll even actually overpay. You'll give the person 3 months severance or a month severance, something that whatever works for that person. But you don't want that person to be bad mouthing you in the marketplace. What a terrible place to work. I quit. They didn't fire me. I quit. Right. So you make it as nice and pleasant as possible, so that you don't have any negative feelings when he leaves, the person, when you terminate somebody. But you do need to recognize, if you see a problem, nip it in the bud, terminate them quickly, and then you'll be able to move on. Again, it's going to be a sunken cost, but you need to move on. You can't let it hurt the firm and fester, and you might lose other people. I was at a major law firm, a phenomenal law firm, and a couple of my friends started leaving the law firm. And I was asking, why is everybody leaving? They said, well, because this one, partner is just not a great guy. He threw a book at me, he threw a stapler at me. I mean, crazy, crazy stories. So I remember talking to the managing partner of the firm, and I love that firm. And I said, this guy's really not good. You're losing great associates. And, the managing partner said, well, this guy brings in, $10 million a year. So I said, yeah, but you don't know what you're missing. These other people might be potentially bringing in business as well. So, that I was just an associate at the time, but the managing partner didn't listen to me. But There were some great lawyers, good friends of mine, really, really top-notch lawyers who left. Ended up getting rid of them eventually, because it became too much. But so they had an opportunity to nip it in the bud early and get rid of them, or have a conversation with them. There's training and things that we could do to make those people better. But if they're not going to change, they're not going to improve, they could really hurt the law firm losing. Now, if you want to grow your law firm in the next 18 months, then you can book a call with me directly through the link in the description. Or if you want to learn how I grew my law firm to $5 million a year in annual revenue, click this video and watch it. See you in the next one.